This is an INDY VR1 equipped with DYNAMIX, which is new for 2025. So DYNAMIX at its core is an electronic semi-active suspension system. What that means is that all four shocks are electronic, and they're all electronically adjusting constantly throughout the entire time you're riding based on what the system is telling it to do. Before we dive into kind of how it works and all the details, the result when you're out on the trail is you get to ride faster, you get to ride harder, and it ride more comfortable all at the same time because you got DYNAMIX doing all of these things for you. Real high level how DYNAMIX works. So DYNAMIX has what's called an IMU, and it's an inertial measurement unit. It's a little box under the hood that has a bunch of sensors in it, gyros, accelerometers, etc. And it's constantly tracking and measuring what the vehicle is actually doing. So if the sled is leaning one way, moving, upset, leaning off to one side because it hit a bump or whatever that is, the IMU is taking it all in, along with the acceleration or throttle input and then the brake input. And then it's dictating to the shocks what to do constantly, immediately, telling them to stiffen up or get softer, etc., so that it maintains the sled perfectly flat, perfectly composed, and really comfortable the whole time you're riding. The kind of how it works out on the trail, it has a couple events that it's always looking for. The first is cornering, so when the sled starts to kind of roll into a corner, the outside front track or the outside ski shock will stiffen up. The inside one will soften a little bit to handle ski lift. The front track shock, which is unique to DYNAMIX, we're the only ones that can control the front track shock. That changes the vehicle pitch, so kind of ski pressure versus traction, and then the rear track shock handles the rest of the traction. So what happens is you come into the corner, it stiffens out that outside shock, you rail right through the corner, the rear shocks keep you balanced, and when you accelerate out, it uses the rear two shocks to balance the traction all the way out of the corner. The other couple that it does is acceleration and braking, so it keeps the sled flat and stable when you're accelerating really hard or hit the brakes, especially when you're coming kind of into a corner, and then it'll transition to cornering. And then the last one is airborne. So if the sled ever gets unweighted, so below 1G, up in the air, even if you're just kind of going over a big roller and you kind of feel the sled unweighted and then come back down, it'll stiffen up as you come back down because it knows you were just kind of unweighted in the air. So all of that is what the system does all the time on its own. The rider gets to select between three modes, and that's on the switch here right on the dash. There's a comfort mode, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's the most comfortable mode, kind of soft, squishy suspension that's really comfortable on the trail, easy steering effort. There's rally mode, which is kind of the main mode in the middle there. It's the widest range, and it's for really all types of trail riding. When you're trail riding hard, no matter really how fast you're going, rally is a great mode. It corners really well. It handles the bumps really well. And then extreme is the last mode that is all about super stiff and big landings and things like that if you want to do that for a little bit. So it's only available on INDY VR1 for 2025. And is the most advanced, smartest suspension system on the snow, and it really makes the ride better than any other snowmobile out there.
Och som ni hör så är den här maskinen för er som söker den optimala ledmaskinen, den mest tekniskt avancerade maskinen som finns på snö. Den här kommer alltså som 650, 850 och boost i VR1 DYNAMIX.